En we zijn live. Welkom iedereen. Dit is het derde panel wat we vandaag hebben. Welkom in de Kunsthal. Welkom als je hier in de zaal zit. Of als je thuis aan het kijken bent via Instagram of Facebook. De vorige panels hebben we in het Nederlands gedaan. Maar deze zullen we in het Engels doen. En dat doen we omdat we willen dat de panelleden zich helemaal goed kunnen uitdrukken. En het is voor 2 van de 3 wel echt het fijnst als dat dan in het Engels is. En dat is dan even belangrijker als er in de zaal iemand is die even iets dan niet goed kan volgen. Steek dan gewoon even je hand op. Dan gaan we het gewoon een beetje op die manier doen. Maar ik vermoed dat dat wel goed gaat komen. So thank you for being here, the 3 of you. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
We're gonna talk about queers on family and chosen family, and then especially about chosen family. That's what the talk is about. So you have your family by blood, and then you have people that you may call your chosen family. And we're going to talk about that. My name is Mandy Wolkens. I'm going to moderate today. My pronouns are she, her. In the end, we also have time for anyone in the audience who wants to ask a question or maybe share something. It doesn't have to be a question, but if you just feel like sharing something, please feel free to do so. You can just raise your hand, then stand up, say your name and your pronouns, and then ask or share whatever you want to share or say. And I'm going to ask the same to the 3 of you. So can you start by who you are and what your pronouns are?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
I am Ladybag, and I'm happy with pronouns of she, her, they, them, and he, him. And I'm a part of the drag house of Amsterdam, House of Hopeless. So this is my little family. So I have a very tangible and public even family, queer family, with their own presence. So it's a real luxury to be a part of, and I'll be here talking a little bit about that.
And then next to you.
Hi, I'm Erwin Gigi. You can call me Erwin, you can call me Gigi. My pronouns are him, he, him, she, her, they, them, whatever you like to call me. I like to quote an American author, if I'm not mistaken, who says, I'm very gender chill about it, so don't worry. And I'm a drag queen and a makeup artist, and it's lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. And you brought your pants with you. That's so nice.
Stop it, Mom.
And then last but not least.
Yeah, my name is Ray. I use the pronouns he and they. And I am, a part of the ballroom scene, so part of a Kiki house. And also do a lot of community-based programming with the queer community, so yeah.
Yeah, thanks for being here already. I love the energy. I hope there are questions there and a lot of cheering.
This is a different panel, I think.
Yeah, but why are they all in the back? They should have come to the front.
Speaking of family, yeah.
If we're talking about being part of a community or being who you are and maybe feeling part of a community, what is that to you? What is being part of the queer community to you?
Maybe I can start,
yeah.
Because I think to have the queer community and my chosen family around me, it's really important for my own ability to be free and think freely about myself, to have examples that emulate what I want to be in the world, and to show how to exchange love and exchange compassion and solidarity with people that can see somehow how I want to project myself, and that's it's sometimes just impossible to find outside of the queer community.
Yeah, and is it very different from the family that you just happen to be in, like your blood family?
My born family.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm lucky enough to have a very supportive family,
Yeah.
and my parents, out of 4 of us, have 3 clearly queer kids. So I think they weren't maybe necessarily ready or expecting any of that, but they were very happy to see it. And now I find that I've gone out to find my own community of people who can exchange how to do things in a way that makes more sense to me, and I can teach them about this now. I find I talk to my parents, they're really open to hear about pronouns, especially.
Yeah.
They have a hard time. Oh, at the start, whoa, I had to be patient, and I felt like I was teaching my family things that they have to know.
Yeah.
You know?
But they were open to.
And luckily, they're really open to it.
So that's a good
yeah,
thing.
and I have a real good sounding board with them about what I want to share, what I find exciting and liberating, and they can empathize with that really clearly.
And for you, Ray, what is community to you?
Yeah.
And why is it important?
Yeah, I mean, I think community is something that we talk about a lot and think about a lot. I think for me, community are people that can hold you accountable, people that you can talk to genuinely, people who maybe you have a shared vision with or you have shared ideas with that you can work on something together, or also just be with each other. And I think, yeah, for me, community is also like, you know, putting in something and getting something back. So it's like an ecosystem, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that is what community is to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, Gigi?
Definitely. What I like about the community around me is that I can actually just say whatever is in my mind, and I won't have to explain it. There's a second natureness to it. There's just the fact that I'll say something and I'll mean it funny, and the reaction will be laughter instead of what? You know, that's also part of the community.
Yeah.
Is that we all speak the same language. We all have the same, you know, context that we're living through.
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
most of the time.
Or most of the time,
Yeah,
exactly.
because I heard you saying, Ray, keeping each other accountable, and I really love that you
It's
said
nice,
that.
no?
I would
yeah.
also like to say that I liked that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think that for some people it's like, oh, but within the community everything is already kumbaya and everyone understands each other and it's all fine. But I don't think there is any community where that is.
There's no family that has.
No.
It's a utopia
No,
and it's not
that's
real.
no, it's
you know,
not real.
families have problems.
Yeah.
You have to be able to look at your family members and see them do something diabolical and say, babe, I want you to do better because I think you deserve, like, you're worth
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
And I want people to say that to me when I have a terrible moment where my judgment is poor and I step out of line and hurt somebody's spaces, and I want somebody to pull me up on the things that I think community in that way, really, it's these examples of people that tell me, hey, you were out of line and maybe you don't see it, but you've got to hear it.
Is that what you meant? And do
Yeah.
you have examples of that?
For sure. I mean, I think like what I've noticed is a lot of times in the queer community, there's an assumption that we all have the same politics, which like isn't the case.
No.
Because why would we? And I think that's okay, and sometimes so often like tension emerges when there are these differences. So it's also about, I think community is acknowledging these conflicts and deciding to like work through it together and like working to also not have everyone think exactly the same thing, right? So like an ecosystem has to have these like different types of things that help it develop and grow. So I think that's also kind of how I think of a community.
Yeah, and because there are conflicts everywhere. If there are people involved, you'll have a conflict. So that's because you can have some ideas the same, but not everything. What is a way to talk about it? Like,
It's your willingness to get through it. It's your willingness to listen to someone else's point of view, understand what they're saying, agree, disagree, and then talk through it again, you know, and see exactly what, you know, what direction you want to think about, what direction they're going to think about. You know, you need to know that it's okay after that. You know, it's a safe space where you can actually have maybe a huge blowout. Maybe you can call each other everything under the sun. But when it's over, you know, you'll be able to say, you know what? I love you, babe.
Still
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah, still love you, babe. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
that's, you know, onvoorwaardelijke liefde. What's that in English?
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
Sorry. I couldn't remember language.
And do you feel free to always say that to someone within the community?
I live my life as an open book. So basically what I do here, I do at my work. I do it for my mom. I do it for my recently passed away grandmother. You know what I mean? My life is very open.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is ask, or you can just witness it and see. So there's no moment for me where I put something away or hide something. You know, I live my life completely open and free. And if you don't like it, then I'm sorry, but this is my life.
Yeah.
And
Or not
I only
even
have
sorry.
one to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I am sorry because I'm always guilty.
Yeah?
Yeah. That has to do.
Are
That has
you?
to do with the Judeo-Christian upbringing that I brought.
Ah, okay. We'll dive maybe into that after this hour.
We all live with guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's about
Right.
chosen family, so for you, Hopeless, how did you find yours?
Yeah, well, so of course I've known about my own queer family for a long time before I found Hopeless, and what I gravitated towards, the girls in Hopeless, and especially my drag mother, Dino Dada. Hi, Dino. She really came in. We were living together at the time, and she really came in, and we were playing together in a creative way that I found really, really great and really rare. And it wasn't play like, ha ha ha, let's throw it around. It was serious, really serious about our need to express these things, and we got really really close really quickly because of this, and I really wanted to be able to surround myself with people that I could admire in that way, in the way that you also represent yourself and show yourself full frontal to the world. It's something that I can see in moments from my sisters, and I'm really inspired by, and I want to have those people around me that do this, because I feel like I'm a product of my environment, and that's the only thing that I have control over sometimes, is to who I surround myself and spend my time with, and my environment, that I want it to be rich and full of people that I respect how they think. And to bring the Hopeless girls around me,
Yeah.
it was a huge revolution for me to be able to see how free I could be, and I have a very lucky home family.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize how caged up in some of the things I was. I wasn't able to present some of the things that I wanted to present to the world. And since my drag mother Dino took me in and Hopeless, I suddenly have this huge fire of all the stuff that I didn't have
But
a
did
space
you-
for and didn't have applause for, and the people that are feeling it all of a sudden, and I thought it was just me.
But did you feel that? Did you realize that after you moved in there and you saw that there is space for you? Did you always realize that you were in a way maybe caged, even though you have a wonderful family and you have 3 or 2 other siblings that are queer? So, but was there this moment when you felt like, oh, I was caged in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And that was through meeting with the Hopeless girls, and I think especially in the space, the church, Club Church in Amsterdam, where I found myself often confronted by the people I would meet that I've never met anyone like in the world, and they're at ease with themselves. That was very confronting to me, to see somebody so unique and so at ease, because that's what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I wanted to be able to be at ease with myself in my own way that I didn't see other people doing, but I wanted to have a space to share it with people that liked it.
Yeah.
Hopeless is so good for that, and they're big applauders, and one of the oldest houses in Amsterdam. You know, they have different waves of different queens coming through all the time, always adapting. There's something so free about that.
Yeah.
You know, really, after I was doing drag before, but when I started to connect it with Hopeless, it made sense.
It made sense. And like we're in the Kunsthal right now, and there's this exposition just across the room here about Vogue, and that's where we know each other from, Ray. And that's also a family and a space where people can be safe. And we just saw each other after like 1.5 or 2 years, and we were like, this has been way too long.
Yeah.
How did you find that chosen family if it's about ballroom?
Yeah. Well, I was doing some research about the ballroom scene. So then I was interviewing a lot of people from the scene, and then I saw the dance form and fell in love. And was
But
also
why were you researching it? Do you remember?
Yeah?
Yeah?
So I was working on a independently published zine about the ballroom scene. So it was basically like archiving the Rotterdam scene here and doing interviews with people. So that's how I met a lot of people, and that's how I met my mother, Marina, who, I just fell in love with the dance form. And I was also personally really, this was like a very, very early part of my transition. So I was also really looking for like queer black men that I could be with and sort of learn from. So then I was really just like embraced. And I think with ballroom, what you put on the floor, again, like is what you get. And if you love it, then people really feel that. So I think from there, I was able to like show my gratitude for people sharing their stories by just like investing in the dance form and like showing people that I appreciated it by walking and things like that. And then I think I met people, and I feel like I invest a lot in the scene because I genuinely love it. It is like, something that we continue to come back to every ball and try to support each other. So
Yeah, and then we all had to live in this pandemic world, and for a lot of people, it was hard. Like it was hard for everyone. It wasn't an easy time, but for some people, it might have been a little bit harder because that chosen family, what we're talking about, is like maybe their main family, and is maybe the only people that they have where they can be who they want to be, and they couldn't reach out to each other. Like, what did one of you see how important it is, that chosen family? Did it make you realize even more in this pandemic how amazing it is to have that chosen family and what it can mean if you don't have it? And could you share something about that? I'm not sure who to.
My chosen family came along very organically. I started working in clubs as a go-go dancer years ago, and I met my first drag queen there. That person became a good friend, inspired me. Did not become my mother or anything like that, but really was an inspiring person to me. I met another girl who was an amazing singer. She lives in the United States now and has 2 grown kids. And all these people slowly but surely started coming into my life. And those are the people that I call my chosen family, because they're really like family.
Yeah.
We're really worried about each other all the time. We're all constantly thinking about each other, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the people that I really call my chosen family. But the point is that this chosen family is, how do you say, they're around me, but they're always around me in the same way, because I don't see them constantly. I don't see them every day.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very important to FaceTime more often. To see them on a screen was better than to
not see them at all. Yeah.
That was very important to me. I started doing that with everybody. I started doing it with my mother. I started doing that with my basically anybody who wanted to talk to me via FaceTime. I did that. So that was for me like what I did to keep that contact alive.
How was that for you?
During this time, it was really important for me creatively not to be drained into depression in the time, because that's really real in those times. Then I know that a lot of my sisters, whether in the house or not, Yeah, it's a real thing to battle with when you don't have access to one another in the same formats. Or nightlife especially was where I met my drag mother first of
Yeah.
all. And these spaces are very temporary, but they connect a lot of people, and it's like a social space that all of a sudden is closed, and I didn't realize how strange it is not to be in the physical space with the people that make me feel physically at ease, like in my body. And all of a sudden, you get like progressively more anxious because you have these wants for these people, and there's actual barriers. And yeah, Hopeless was wonderful because they were trying everything they could. We tried while there was low restrictions to meet. We tried to make events. There was things on Zoom. And for me, I couldn't have done that stuff by myself, and I wouldn't have had reach for those things that kept me afloat.
How was that for you, Ray?
Yeah, I think because of my other work, I organize like a lot. So I talk to a lot of queer people, but I think ballroom is a very like embodied experience, right? It's something that you're really in the space with. So I don't think I realized how much I miss ballroom until this weekend, where there was a Utopia ball here. Yeah, by Yamuna and Angel and Seven Garçons, because they're both garçons now. And yeah, you can really feel, yeah, I just felt like it was like a family reunion where everyone was in the same space, and you can see how much people have grown, and it's not, I don't know, I think there's a way that also in a club and in a ball, you like talk to people in a really different way, and you can really be very present with each other in a way that I don't think quite works the same on Zoom or something like that. So I think that was something that was really challenging, and like connecting with other people. So it's nice to see that things are kind of opening back up again, and people can start building those connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, in the way that church is reopening, and church, when I first came from, well, I moved over from Australia, where I'm originally from, and I've never in my life stepped into a place that had that, and for that to be sort of gone, and now it's reopening it in a few weeks, which is really exciting because feels like really one of the only places I miss because of that experience of gathering as a family. It happens there, although it's not official. Something about it is just like possible in this space where it's not, there's no judging eyes or something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that as like so I do a lot of community organizing within the queer community, and I realize that I talk to so many people in club spaces to just see how they're doing and how I can support them as an organizer, you know, and you really need these spaces to like meet each other, you know. And
Yeah, you do. It's
Yeah.
really important. And for because for some people that are not part of the queer community, like family, it's they can find it offensive. Like this is not my own family, but I hear this a lot that they feel well, maybe threatened or something by the fact that people have found a new family, and they hear judgment in that. Maybe that's not for the three of you, but Erin, if there are also people watching at home, or maybe someone that is sitting here, could you maybe tell us a little bit more about why that isn't necessarily how they should look at
Well,
it?
it's totally not that way for me. As Ladybag just said, she came from a beautiful nest.
Yeah.
She came from a very supportive family. My supportive family is my mother. You know, I had a stepfather for a very long time. I had a father before that. But still, in the end, from the age 12 onto my adult life, it was just me and my mom. So she's been a mother, a father to me, et cetera, but she's also been really tough on me.
Yeah.
She was really, really strict. So that was really good for me. My mom always taught me that I could do whatever I want to do, and that gave me a really positive view on life. So there's absolutely no discrepancy between what she did and my chosen family. It's just that my chosen family enriches my life even more
Yeah.
than it already has been by my own family. And it just gives you a little bit more of, I think it's the same like when you go to school, you know, and you talk with your friends, you know, it's there's a comfort issue there. It's like you don't have to worry about what am I going to say. You know, am I going to insult somebody? Am I going to say something that's a little bit too racy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can't say anything too racy to my mom because my mom, she's the raciest of us all. Trust me. So, in that sense, it's all real good.
Yeah. Yeah. And how
I
would
have
you
that type of
describe
mom.
that, Ray? How would you describe that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think chosen family can provide each environment provides something different. So there are a lot of things that my blood family can provide for me that maybe my chosen family can't, and vice
Yeah.
versa. And I think with each of them, like with especially like my mom or my grandma, I try to send them videos. I try to talk to them about my life. And I think by inviting them into my life, then they also don't feel as left out. Like they still don't get like a lot of things right, but it also doesn't matter because they want to be a part of my life, and I find that to be such a blessing. So I don't try to force them to be something that they're not, you know,
No.
and I don't have unrealistic expectations for them because why be disappointed instead of just being thankful for like what you have.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And that question is for the two of you. Do you, within the community, we still have a lot of work to do. I always find that very a good thing to say, that we're not there yet. That's also why we're here. Do you see a difference in the Netherlands, if you look at the States? Is it really different from, okay, Erin.
Do you want to start?
You can go. Yeah.
Because
I
just lived there. I just lived there for a couple of years. You were actually born there.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, for me, it's always been since I came back to the Netherlands. Everyone, when they find out, what you used to live in America? Mm-hmm. Really? What are you doing here? And I'm like, excuse me, I'm a black, weird, artsy, homosexual man.
Yeah.
That just doesn't fly very well in the United States. There are certain areas, maybe a Chicago, maybe a Philadelphia, maybe a New York, maybe a Los Angeles, but the rest, we're talking Bible Belt, we're talking televangelists, we're talking Baptist churches, we're talking, I mean, come on. They're very liberal here in Holland. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I spent, I think, 3 or 6 months here, and I was like, oh, that's why I had to come back here.
Yeah? Was it really?
Yeah, because I had to adjust. I remember I was really pissed off at my mom. I just graduated from high school. She gave me a one-way ticket. She said, "You're going back to Holland." I was like, "Why?" And then I got here, and I was like depressed. I got a job. As soon as I got the job, I signed myself in at the city hall. 4 days later, there was a letter in the mat saying I had to go into service. They called me into the army. Yes, I'm that old. Shh.
If you just keep on talking, no one can.
No one heard it. So I was like, "What? I'm not going in the army. No way I'm going to do that." But then I had to be a conscientious objector, and but I really got into a depression for about 6 months, and then after 6.
While you were still.
While I was here, because I was trying to adjust.
Yeah.
I was trying to adjust, and all this stuff happening, and I was like, I don't want to be here. The weather's horrible. Simple things got to me, like, why is the milk carton so small? Why is the juice so small? You know what I'm talking about. You all know what I'm talking about. But now it makes sense. Now it's just it's economical. Just do it right. But after 6 months, my cousin had told me, yeah, you need to go to this club called Nighttown. They play house music there. And I was like, I don't know. If you like it, then I won't like it because we can get along.
Yeah.
So at a certain point in time, I went. And I remember just walking in the door and hearing the And
I
opened
missed
it
that
up.
sound.
I looked inside and I was like, wow. And then my life started.
Yeah.
Basically, 3 months after that, I had met my girlfriend. I had a girlfriend once.
Yeah.
I had met my girlfriend. I started a dance group with her and her 2 other girlfriends. I performed at the first house party in Ahoy on the Maasvlakte.
Yeah. It really started.
Yeah. A year or 2 after that, I had my own dance company. I was hiring out dancers to work in clubs. made a lot of money. But where it is, God
Yeah.
only knows.
I was so, where is it now?
No idea. Had a good time though. It was great. Yeah.
And how is your, I'm so sorry, I need to stand because I have this prego cramp and I'm dying here,
girl.
so.
You want a massage?
No, I'm okay. Ray, how is that for you? Like the difference between the two countries?
Yeah, I think the Netherlands has a lot of safety nets. So I think that really causes queer organizing to look really different. I think to me, I feel like in the U.S. the queer community can be quite radical, especially the trans community, like talking about like healthcare and things like that. It's like a really fight, and here it's very different. So I think the history kind of causes the political climate to be a little bit different. So I find usually in the U.S. queers are a bit more political than they are here.
It's also more a matter of life and death there.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's out of necessity.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's really a completely different energy, and because the history here, gay marriage, like it just totally changes, I think, the way that also young queer people are coming up. So I think that's like a pretty big difference that I see between the two. And I also I'm always really curious about like what Holland's radical queer history is, I think that's a really interesting question because I think at the moment a lot of queer politics are coming from the US, so it's kind of like placed onto here when like the Netherlands has its own history.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we should like investigate that and figure out where that history is and then what we can kind of go from. So that's what I think maybe something could be nice for Holland, and I'm really curious about that too because I also, don't know that history. So.
You're
No.
giving me so much food for thought. It's not even funny. It's really, really hysterical.
Yeah. And how is that for you? Because you were born and raised in Australia, right?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Australia. It's a very different space, I'm sure, than America. There is, in certain places in Melbourne, real violence, especially to femininity, I'd say. Australia has a real trigger problem with femininity wherever it appears, and a real misogyny to the culture. So there is a certain way that you have to keep low, and the friends you have there, you can really like dig deep with, but outside there's a modem, and you don't bring it there. Because there's real consequences, and it's a very friendly culture, and it's in a lot of ways very liberated, but it's these little microaggressions and even full-blown aggressions. In Australia, it's not a thing to be yelled at from a car or have something thrown at you. It'll happen.
Yeah. Like it also
It
happens
just
here,
will
of
if
course.
they sense something unusual about you. And it's, I feel so much safer, for instance, in Amsterdam physically,
Yeah.
even when I get confronted, because I know that there's a line that people respect in the country somehow, historically, that they don't maybe cross this line of really denigrating very easily here.
You feel safer when you're in Amsterdam, or is that not
It depends
a
where,
good
it's
word?
more complicated than that, of
Yeah.
course, because one place in Australia,
Yeah.
in Melbourne, is really free and I can wander down the street in a skirt and a feather. But another place, another suburb, will be, they'll be really, you'll be put a spotlight on, ridiculed really quickly,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of risk for people that go around in the suburbs of Melbourne at times.
Yeah.
There's a
But
lot
it
of
probably
people that
also in the Netherlands it depends on where you are.
Of course.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Because
like,
we also have our own Bible Belt.
I mean,
like
in drag, I'll do almost anything. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll step on my bike to go to a gig or whatever. It's all really comfortable. I'll walk down the street with my boyfriend hand in hand. There's just certain moments, when like a group of teenage boys might, come out of a subway station. I might just let go of my boyfriend's hand, just because it's not necessarily the fact that I'm scared
no.
of them. I just know what groups and peer
Might,
pressure,
yeah.
macho little boys, because they have to prove themselves.
To each other,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's
I
like-
lived in
it's like-
Oostdorp, but just on the end of my street,
Right.
there were those boys.
Yeah, exactly.
These boys.
Yeah.
And every time I went out for a drag gig, I'd like put a little headscarf up and cycle quickly past because I knew that they instantly start laughing, which is a very strange thing to know how to
React
respond
to,
to.
yes.
If somebody just looks at you and laughs, what do you do?
Hint? laugh back.
Yeah, but it's also like, I don't want to...
It works?
I want to diffuse, I want to...
Yeah, it works. It's so funny, isn't it?
That's good, I get it.
They hate it. They're like, why is he laughing?
Then they feel insecure about it. Yeah.
They're like, wait a minute, why is he laughing about... wait.
Yeah.
Do I have something? Yeah. And
Dip into the fragile
if we look
masculine
at chosen family, and we, especially if we look at ballroom, but I also think drag houses, it once started that there was like literally a house where there was a mother who would take you in. Well, that changed now, right? If we look at ballroom, it's not like Amber, for instance, takes all those kids in her house, or Marina takes all those kids in her house.
Right,
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
But not all the time. I'm not all of them.
But I think it's a necessity again that we were talking about earlier. I think in the States, if your parents literally threw you out on the street, there is nowhere for you to go.
Yeah.
There's,
Was that also what you meant? Like it's so much harder.
It's so much harder there than here. Definitely, definitely.
Because why is it that people think that because okay, we're further here, but we're not there yet? And what is the thing that
we're not there anywhere?
No.
That's why we have Pride all over the world still to this day, and we probably won't ever be there. I once had a discussion early morning. I think we were having lots of alcohol, maybe some drugs. I don't know.
You wouldn't
with somebody,
do that.
Never. And somebody said to me, one day we'll all be one color, and nobody will hate anybody else. And I was like, nah. Somebody will talk about your nose. Yeah, you're all the same color, but your nose is a little bit different than yours. I think human beings have to somehow find something that they don't see in themselves and see in somebody else and be like, hey, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I think you're different, so it scares me, I don't want that. And they'll just react to that. I think we're always going to have that like weakness in us.
Yeah.
I really hope that we one day get to this utopia that we're all
Yeah.
hoping for.
But probably.
Hoping for. But I don't know.
No, well,
I don't know.
We kind of know, but like in the next 5 years, it's not gonna. We don't have that utopia yet. So if we look at in those years and long after that, we need community builders. And why is that so important to have those community builders?
Of course it's important to have community builders. I think it's clear to each of us personally anyway how we connect with the community, and these are facilitated by people who have the vision for that. Ray is one person I really respect, and I've been to an event for this, and it's people around that I look up to who run these events that I really want to be at, and I want to join in the flow of what they want to contribute to the community, because in the end I have my own things to contribute to the community, but if I don't support the community itself or the family itself, or it's really important. Of course, it's really important. I lost the
in a way we're like, of course, but there are a lot of people that don't really realize why it's that important to have community builders and why we will need them and need more of them and need also a new generation that also has community builders. Like maybe it sounds like, yeah, of course we do, but there are a lot of people who don't really.
So I mean, if I say for my own experience of Jennifer Hopeless as a community builder is really an example to me, has a really strong political opinion and voice and puts effort into the community. And Prep New was an initiative to help people within the community to be safe.
Yeah.
All spearheaded by Jennifer, and the government did not give any money towards it. But PrEP is in the country, well, at least for a short time, it was only in the country because of Jennifer's efforts. So there is real importance to that, because that showed the rest of the nation in a way, in a political way, how important it is to this community. They'll pay for it. They'll do something to get it. They'll smuggle it in if you don't let them.
Yeah.
You know?
So
that Jenny stands up and says, this is important. I have a platform. I can talk for the children of my house who don't have that voice, but they also have these needs, and Jennifer can see that and respond to it in an action way.
yeah.
I think visibility is also very important. You know, I think just seeing a David Bowie with like a beautiful makeup on, or a Boy George as a child, was very important to me. Visibility in the sense that as a light-skinned Caribbean boy, I didn't have many role models to look up to on TV, you know, or in film. I think the only person I could really relate to, and I clung to her like I don't know what, is Grace Jones, because she's from Jamaica, which is Caribbean. You know, she's a completely different person than I am. She's much bolder than I ever would be. But it was just so interesting to see that creature be so alternative, so different, so non-regular black folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just sports, not just whatever, the typical things you would see. It was so interesting to see her be so alternative. And I think visibility in that sense is also wonderful for these community builders, because they actually make sure that there is somebody there visible for them. You know, they create a space where those people can congregate and be themselves, so they can actually shine outwards and reach those people they need to reach.
Yeah, and if you found them, then that could be a moment where you can realize, like, oh, there was a part of me that wasn't there yet, and now I can actually be who I want to be. That's kind of also the importance of that chosen family, or being with people that understand you just by looking at you, or
Right.
just talking to you in a way that you maybe missed, without the intentions of other people being bad, but just
Yeah, my family's wonderful.
yeah.
But when I think of who inspires me to reach up for the things that I really like, find a unique point of view on, it's the ones that artistically and creatively and person in at ease way, you know, there's people in the house, they're giving me permission, and they're showing me elements of what you can do, and what you like. People that like Jennifer, I'm never going to be the same kind of figure, but I am inspired by what she's doing, and if I reach in that direction, I have someone to model off.
Yeah. Yeah, and the three of you can also be that role model for somebody else again. That's how it works, right? That's what we hope how it works.
Yeah, and I
Pass it on.
Yeah, I hope that, like, I think, well, maybe people who are younger than me, you see a lot of times Instagram, now you have these, like, activist celebrities, right? So you have a lot of people who are kind of celebrities through their social work, but I think that everyone should be a community builder. And I think, yeah, it sounds very corny, but, like, no one's activism looks the same. No one is going to do something the same, and, like, everyone has something to contribute. So I think it's also about, like, knowing your, like, passions and interests and ways that you can contribute, because, like, authenticity, that's what we all want anyway.
Yes.
So you need to like authentically give to your community. And I think, you know, if everyone is able to do that, then we can just have a lot of community builders and, you know, no celebrities. That's my dream. It's like no more activist celebrities.
So can I just ask you a question? When are you writing your book?
Never. No more activist celebrities.
I want to read it. I want to read it.
Is there already someone in the room that has a question or wants to share something? It always starts with everyone being shy. And in the back, I know you're not shy, but I'm giving you a couple of more minutes. I see this. No, I don't see it. We're going to send the mic to you in a minute. No, that's okay. There's someone here.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
So close. Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on this topic. It's really interesting. I had a question. I just got to the Netherlands a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still looking for my chosen family. So I just wanted to ask you, like, where do I start to looking for my chosen family without having to go on Grindr.
Grindr, what's that like?
I guess find your interests and find the people that have those interests. Go to these events and really put your time into it. Because obviously you never know who's going to bounce off you in this way. And I think if you also have the openness to enjoying and receiving certain people, then they'll recognize that when it happens, and that'll all happen, you know? But there are events going on here. The cultural scene actually has some movement in the Netherlands, which is exciting. So it's, worth going to those places to find the like-minded people that...
And things are opening up slowly, but it's opening up again. So let's hope that it stays that way and that it's maybe easier for you then to find it. Anyone else who has some advice?
And I think if you being your most authentic self, as we were talking about earlier, you will attract those people anyway. I think that's something that happens. I think if you go searching for things that you often don't find them, or don't find exactly what you need or want, I think it usually just, it's like lint, just grabs onto you, Sorry. It's true though.
Yeah, like
It's
you
true.
can't predict
You
exactly
it's
what's
like
coming.
Nothing.
Not
It's
at
like-
all. You've just got to be open to receiving the other possibilities, because somebody is just as complicated as you with their own things to offer you that, for instance, when I met with my drag mother, I never knew what I was like, actually, before that, somehow.
Really?
I did know who I was, and I was, in myself, I still recognized myself very much from before, but after this, I'd seen a lot of things in myself that I could never have seen without Dino's influence and presence. And it was because of Dino that I opened my eyes to some of the things about who I am.
Cool.
I needed that from them.
Fabulous, so darling.
Yeah.
That's what
I would also say maybe like when I first came to the Netherlands, I was able to join a youth center at the time. But like joining a LGBT center, and they need volunteers and just like meeting people and doing stuff. And that was also how I started like event programming, and now I work as an event programmer. So it just, again, by like giving into the ecosystem.
Right.
Yeah.
Something always comes back.
Totally. Give and you shall receive somehow.
Yes.
Don't expect.
Are we becoming biblical now?
Yeah, let's hold
Oh my
hands.
God.
How do? What?
Hallelujah.
Oh, hallelujah. Oh. I thought there was a question coming up. Is there anyone else who wants to share something or ask anything?
We've
No
talked too
one.
much. Okay.
No, you didn't talk too much. Look at.
Hi, my name is Faye, and I am a she/her. You can call me by that name. And I have a question because I have a theater group with my best friend, Robin Caro, and we're making a performance about feminism. But we want to give everyone a voice, and I was just wondering, what can we do to give you a voice on the stage?
I didn't understand the first part. You're making what with
We're
your
making
friends?
a performance about feminism.
Oh, wow.
But we think it's really important that everyone has a place to like give their voice and tell their story. But now we don't have anyone queer in our team, but we do want that, and we want to give those people a voice too. And I was wondering, what can we do to give you that voice?
Well, I think, okay, like this is just my personal opinion, so I can only speak for myself, but if it's from like authenticity, right? Like I think it's okay to speak from your own experience. Like if you don't have any queer people like working and who can specifically speak to that, then I think that that's also okay. And I think if you did want to make more space, then maybe that would mean adding queer people in the writing process, and then they would be able to figure out, how that would work together. And I think if you are very really want to have a queer voice, then thinking about maybe the intersection of like feminism and queerness, so you can kind of see where your own interests folds into this other interest, and then I think that might be a more like authentic and genuine way of doing things. Not saying that you're not authentic and genuine. That's what I would think.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think the intention's great, of course, to have this space opened up, but there is the need for that space to be, filled with something that maybe isn't team, so you don't know what it looks like. And somehow this this openness already, you can, really gravitate some people that you want to exchange thoughts with, even at a cafe or a bar, in a way that you have a friend of a friend who you'd like to make contact with, and you can reach out to just to gain your own knowledge, because putting what is interesting to you into what you're working on is always a place of authenticity, and inviting the space to be also available to the people that you want to hear the voice of them and that you don't know how they would speak, and opening a space for them where they maybe not have the ability to open a space is great.
Is that an answer to your question?
Yes. I don't know, how. So that's really hard. Where can I meet those people? Because I'm not familiar with where I need to go. Do I go to the same place that you, how do I say it? Told the others to go to, like those places you were talking about. Is that place that I can go to get more information about how you feel, how you guys, I don't know. I'm losing the words.
You could possibly try maybe going to volunteer for a queer space and meeting people there. I don't know how much time you have for this project that you're working on.
I have enough time because I just, besides the project, I find this is important, so I have all the time.
Yeah, well, I think it's very important that when you come as a non-queer person into a queer space, and you want to utilize the well of information, the well of creativity, that I think it's very. We smell bullshit really fast. So, and we're very cautious of somebody coming from outside and wanting something from us, because I think queers have always had stuff taken from them, used, abused, etc. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you come, like we said before, add something to the space, and you'll see whatever floats back comes back to you. You know what I mean? Maybe try and not really, maybe try not to expect too much in the beginning, and just be in the space, and have your own experience also inform your art, your project.
Yeah, and always know your place, right?
Oh, well.
Well, no?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
true. Somehow
No,
there
I love
is
it.
that.
I love it because you're giving the strong black woman.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's-
Sorry, but
and that's-
well,
and
not
that's-
sorry.
And that's
Yeah.
no, but that's also where queerness, I feel, comes from for me. You know,
Yeah,
that's
but there's a reason we feel this very quickly, is because it threatens us in an actual way, and it's historically done so, which is why spaces like ballroom and drag and these drag houses that are existing and opened up, because it's a space where we've pried apart somewhere, and even a facility and even an economy, we've pried apart our own space with our
Worked
own standards.
really hard.
And to say, I'd love a bit of that spice, it's really, I think it does need to be walked carefully, because what you want to do is open a space for them to express, and not to get the flavor of the season. And I think that, in your approach, there's this kind of respect of, this is a whole culture that people have built, aside from mainstream, and it's been tough historically to get there. So now that it's interesting in these theatre spaces, which I noticed in the last 10 years, theatre spaces have been really opening up to queer performance and art, and it's a fabulous thing to see. So it's great to hear. And how we go forwards is that we want rights in that space, and respect in that space, and power in that space as well, because we're just,
I still have a little bit of time for maybe one question. Is there someone still with a question, or wants to add something or share something in the front?
Do you think you having a chosen family helps you to make decisions you wouldn't have without a chosen family? I myself, because I have a very good friendship with a few friends that I've known for 12 years that are my chosen family right now. That gave me the strength to cut off family members that didn't agree with my life. So have you had experiences like that, or? Yeah.
Ray?
Yeah, for sure. So I haven't had to cut off any of my family or anything like that, but I do have like a community outside of ballroom of very expressive trans guys who I love, and I think it's very challenging, you know, to be walking through the world in a particular way and having certain expectations, and I think being with them and being with this family really often allows me to feel comfortable to express myself and to be very authentically myself in a lot of different spaces where I wouldn't have felt comfortable before. So yes, that was a long way of saying yes.
I don't know why, but a very expressive trans man sounds like the understatement of the year.
They're very flamboyant. It's like another level, yeah.
Amazing.
And the two of you? How is that for any of the two of you?
I don't think I would have made any other choices than the choices that I've made. No. I'm very boring in that way, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because I've always wanted to do what I wanted to do. First of all, when I was, I think, 8 years old, I think I saw Michael Jackson somewhere, and I was like, yes, that's what I mean. I want to be a pop star. I want to be on stage. I want to sing. I want to dance. I want to act, and I want to do this. And my mom was like, no, you're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be this. You're going to be that. And I was like, no. And then I got really good grades. And I went to a creative and performing arts high school. So I eventually, because my grades went like this, and it had to happen.
Yeah.
You know. So, I mean, I've always wanted to do what I wanted to do. It just went in sort of like a ziggy-zaggy, slalomy way instead of going straight to that moment. And it's my chosen family gives me props. My chosen family gives me kudos. My chosen family gives me back. You know what I mean? A little bit more in the creative areas than my born family would.
Yeah.
That's basically the only difference. I wouldn't have made any other decisions, I don't think,
That's good to hear.
because of my chosen family.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's meta.
To know yourself in this way is
Yeah,
gorgeous
it's-
as well. And it's nice that your chosen family are there to see you like that and support you in the same direction you were going.
I mean, I didn't give them a choice.
Yeah, well, that's also part of it. That's good too. The chosen family has to put up with
And
it.
I haven't given my regular family the choice either. I've just lived my life. And if you don't want to be a part of it, you know,
Then bye.
there you're there. And we see each other at, you know, parties and funerals, and it's all good.
Yeah.
I love my family,
Yeah.
and I hope they love me.
They
But
will.
I'm not going to make any other choices because of them.
You shouldn't. We're already at the end of this talk. Oh, you want to say something? I'm so sorry. Yeah. Sorry, David. Sorry, David. Yeah,
Just really
say,
quickly,
yeah,
I just
say
wanted to
quickly.
say that, I mean, I feel like my chosen family, the ones that are around me and that I feel like I want to spend the most time with, they give me a lot the strength to make hard decisions about my life, about things that I think a lot of people don't understand, that I can filter it through these people and decide for my own priorities with them in mind, how to act and how to step forward into bits of life that I like or scared about. And am I scared for a good reason because it's really what I should do? Or am I scared because it's like I'm just being chaotic, babe? And they'll say that and they'll be like, chill out.
Right.
And I need that sometimes because I need both ends of that to say, no, go for it. You really are in, like, this is for you, or babe, don't.
Don't do it. Let's think about that again, shall we?
Yeah. That's what they're for, right?
Yeah, they're for
Yeah.
that. They're, I mean, not that I don't trust my blood family, but they don't know.
They don't.
They want to know. They
They-
can learn.
they'd like
They're
to
willing,
know.
but they don't know. And I need people that know me in that way to
Yeah.
help me make those decisions.
So for everyone who was watching at home or here, or like you said, where to find it, I hope that this gave you a little bit of like hope that if you don't have a chosen family yet, or people that are like-minded as you, that they are there. You just need to find places where there are like-minded people, and or you'll just attract them.
Go out and sniff for them, you know, like really go out there.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope that next year if we're here, there are more people, and that you will be also here, and then that you found that community. I really wish that for you. Thank you so much. There's one more talk after this. I won't do that one because this was my third one, so I'm done for today. Thank you so much.